All right, looks like we are up. Thank you, Ronaldo, the digital mastermind over here. Got me up and good to go for today's Facebook Live, which we'll just do a quick little today and weekend update and then touch on the tropics. And if you want to get a little bit more on that, my speakers are up and I can hear myself talking, which is awful. So there we go. Okay, and then if you want to get a little bit more detail, I'll talk a bit more about the tropics in our Weather Focus show, which goes live on our digital platforms at 3 p.m. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I'll remind you about that here in a moment. So we've got over a dozen people on the live, and I understand a whole bunch of you watch on our app, so thank you for that. That's one of the great reasons to have the app, so you can get this stuff and see our forecasts, blog posts that we make, as well as all the cool tools that the app has for tracking severe weather and things like that, like the live interactive radar and such. But let's go ahead and get to the headlines for today's forecast, which is the sun returns. Today is your first full day of summer. Yesterday was the summer solstice, which is when summer officially begins, at least astronomically speaking, with the sun and the position of the earth and all that, but that occurred at 4:50 p.m. So today is your first start to finish full day of summer, and it will certainly feel like a good summer day with lots of sunshine and a little bit warmer than yesterday. It does get warmer and more humid though over the next couple of days as we head through the weekend, which is going to start still nicely. The temperature is going to go up, but the humidity is at least decent, not low, not overly high, which is kind of about the best you can hope for in South Mississippi sometimes, but it does start to edge towards moderately high and eventually ridiculous as we head into next week, and you'll see that here in a moment as well. That's right when the rain returns though, so thankfully that'll lower our air temperature down, even though that humidity isn't really going to go too far away. That will take us out of the almost 100-degree range and drop us back down closer to where we should be in the low 90s. And that's when the rain returns, starts coming in about Monday evening, and I expect it to peak on Wednesday and then start trending down from there. But we do have a few clouds left in the area, especially if you look off towards the east. From Laurel, Ford, and Laurel, you can see them here in the distance. They kind of lingered overhead for the eastern half of the Pine Belt and kept things about a degree warmer than they otherwise would be, which kept everything fairly neutral on average as far as where we were compared to yesterday. About half the area was a degree or two cooler. The other half, the eastern half, was a degree or two warmer. So all in all, I'd call that a push. It was a very similar morning to yesterday, even though it might have technically been warmer or cooler compared to where you were. So you can see over here in Waynesboro that very thin cloud cover, which again is on its way out. We're going to see pretty much nothing but sun for the rest of the day. Looking beautiful already, but also looking hot. 86 feels like 93 over there in Waynesboro already. And again, it's 9:30 in the morning and feels like 93, which is unfair, it seems sometimes. It's a little bit cooler over here at Walt Massey Ford in Columbia, where you're seeing those clouds in the distance, but otherwise nothing but blue sky. No rain in the area yesterday. 82 feels like 86. So still a 6-degree heat index already, but thankfully already not into almost the mid-90s like you were seeing there. Yesterday got up to 92, right where we forecast it would be during the sunrise show, which is always nice to see. Morning was about 73. We either hit that this morning or stayed a degree above that, because Hattiesburg would have been right on the edge where those clouds were, so it wouldn't have surprised me to see 1 degree of warming there. You see no measured rain yesterday. We did have a 10% chance for that, but it kind of fell apart when it was moving from Alabama into Mississippi, which I only gave it a 10% chance. We didn't expect it to really be a problem, and it didn't even reach the area. So you can see that we are still a little bit below average from where we should be in terms of rainfall, which we have not seen very much. It's not quite the drought conditions like we had last year, and hopefully we don't see that, and especially the rain coming up as we head into next week will very likely help with any sort of dry conditions we have setting up. So it looks like our normal has risen by 1 degree, which means we're not as far above normal as I thought we would be. I thought it would be 4 degrees, now just 3 degrees with an expected high of 94, though if we start edging into 95 and 96, that wouldn't surprise me either with all the sun in the area. I just believe that cloud cover will keep us just there, but thankfully nowhere near the 103-degree record you were seeing there. So for today, getting up to about 94, which will happen as we head between 4 and 6. 93 there as we head into 5 p.m. with lots of sunshine. You see by then the morning clouds will be gone, and it'll be nothing but sun for pretty much all of today and all of tomorrow as well, but those clouds do start inching back in. But let's talk about the humidity. Here you can see the muggy meter behind me. The green areas is what you want to see, the dark green especially, and the blue. As we head into the afternoon, you kind of see a lot of that dark green for today. Heading into tomorrow, we see the darker green moving more into the area, especially in the heat of the afternoon, and even some areas of blue popping up there where it's going to feel pretty great, according to the muggy meter again. Still kind of humid, but at least fairly great there. But that's about where it bottoms out. Now watch as I just let this run as we head from Sunday into Monday and Tuesday and now Wednesday, with eventually the miserable, that's dew points in excess of 75, approaching 80, since we're seeing like little blips of red popping up there, the insane level, as tropical moisture moves in. I expect a very similar setup to the way we started off this week, where we had that developing system that eventually became Tropical Storm Alberto, lingering in the western Gulf, and that just set up a little highway of moisture overhead that really kept feeding cloud cover and eventually showers in the afternoon that were pretty spotty, and I expect pretty much that same setup to get going as we head into the middle of next week. But that's when that humidity really spikes, especially there Monday and Tuesday, with our air temperature still elevated, still in the upper 90s. By that time, Wednesday is when I expect it'll rain quite a bit, so it'll finally start to cool things down. But even then, once the rain starts stopping, which I expect we'll see by next weekend, a cold front's not coming through. It's not going to get any colder. We are going to stop being so elevatedly high because the cloud cover will be back to fairly neutral, where it was nice and sunny here and only starting to get cloudy once we head into Monday and Tuesday. With those showers moving in. So it's not going to really get any cooler and not really any less humid either. And that all starts today, really, as the sun really takes hold, and that will take us into the weekend, where we start climbing up into the 97, 98 degree range. And again, dew point not crazy just yet, but by Sunday evening especially, it starts to get noticeable, and that's when we're still in those upper 90s, especially Monday. Will be very hot and humid with those heat indices in the 105 plus degree range, which is the danger zone as far as heat illness goes, where just even short-term direct exposure to sunlight, and especially if you're doing yard work or anything strenuous, sports practices, whatever, it can sneak up on you pretty quickly. So you're definitely going to want to stay hydrated and safe over the weekend from the heat. But let's talk about the tropical moisture that we had at the beginning of the week, which brought us quite a bit of cloud cover. Now you're seeing none of it, which is why we've got all that blue sky out there. And what that plume, it did move off a little bit towards the west, so you can kind of see its remnants there. Now that Alberto is gone, you can see how that Alberto remnants here kind of wrapping up and over that little highway of moisture. And now we can see the next development here with a 60% chance over the next week of becoming our next named system. You can see that big bit of moisture here, all of that associated with the Central American Gyre. Which is a broad area of low pressure over Central America that just kind of circulates moisture through this area, and it can generate tropical systems. I kind of touched on it in our Weather Focus show Wednesday, I believe. And today we'll talk about something else, probably the Saharan dust, because there's a nice plume of that out there right now. We'll also see this area we've been watching for a couple of days now with about a coin flip chance of development, as it doesn't have much time left before it impacts the eastern coast in northern Florida or the Georgia coast there, possibly even extreme eastern South Carolina. But it's rapidly running out of time. If it doesn't organize quickly, it won't be able to check all the boxes off to become a named storm, tropical storm, and get that name. So we're already done with Alberto, as you can see there. Oh, looks like Vanessa Pacheco in the chat there, coming to visit. We're probably doing a little dancing video later, if I am pleased with the dancing, which I probably won't be, so it's 50-50. It's 50-50 if it gets posted or not. But either way, Tropical Storm Alberto is now already in the books. And then we'll see if we get Beryl or Chris over the weekend. We could get both. I bet that one in the Western Gulf does become a named system, and it remains to be seen which one based on what that East Coast system does, which is, again, not looking likely or really unlikely. It's tropical systems sometimes do what they want. And it could get it together, or it could completely fall apart. That's just how it goes with those things. So you can go beyond the forecast, as I said. We'll touch a little bit more on what we're seeing out there as far as potential developments go. I'll talk a bit about the Saharan dust and how that can limit things as well, and show you what that plume looks like over the next week. It's basically helping us out pretty well over in the mid-Atlantic area and the west coast of Africa right now. So weather focus again, 3 p.m. every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, where we do local forecasts and talk about any upcoming events and go a little bit deeper into whatever forecast stuff that we feel is interesting or might be interesting to you. So here's your 7-day. A few morning clouds today give way to nothing but sunshine for the rest of the day. Saturday looking pretty good, sunny and hot though, with those temperatures starting to rise all the way up to that 98 degrees there at the peak on Sunday before it finally starts to give just a bit. And that's because we start seeing cloud cover move in with at least a couple of afternoon and evening showers and thunderstorms possible there on Monday. That'll start cooling us down, but you see even Tuesday, when that humidity is just continuing to skyrocket, we're still at about 96. So that's why we could still see a heat index 10 degrees or more above the actual air temperature, especially if you're not getting one of those afternoon showers, and they should still be rather scattered, meaning not widespread, meaning the whole area isn't going to see rain at any given time. If you're not getting one of those cooling afternoon showers there, you will definitely be feeling that heat and humidity still. It does finally fall back down closer to normal because of the extra rain I expect we'll see as the rain chances peak there on Wednesday. And then start to taper down slowly through Thursday, and it looks like Friday's clearing up pretty nicely before we head into a somewhat sunny, somewhat cloudy weekend with likely a couple of showers. Because again, no cold fronts coming through, no dry airs coming in to really cool things down or anything like that. So we're going to continue to see some pretty hot temperatures in about the low to mid 90s range with slightly elevated humidity, and of course that can lead to all kinds of afternoon showers in the right circumstances, which is a bit far off for any consistent or forecasting or anything like that. So that's all I got for you today. I'll release you to go enjoy the beautiful weather. Once again, if you have any questions, weather-related questions or anything like that, or sometimes I get into Star Wars discussions here on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it there. So if you have any of those, you can reach out to me on the socials there, Ryan Mahan WDAM on Facebook, or at Ryan Mahan WX on the Twitter, as I'm going to continue to call it for the rest of my life. So I'll go ahead and let you guys go. Please enjoy your day. Remember to wear that sunscreen. UV index is going to be high over the next couple of days, or really very high, upwards in the 11 degree or 11. UV index is going to be at 11 or 12 as we head through the weekend with all that sun. So remember that sunscreen and stay hydrated, especially as we head into the heat of next week before the rain arrives.